fact that it's not common assessment, but a common assessment bank. That there's this whole list of ideas that you can do. So remember, a scoring scale is around a specific learning target. Each learning target has its very own scoring scale, and this, of course, would be the understands and blah, 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 blah. So in here, you can have this whole bank of ideas, and in that bank of ideas, it shouldn't just be test questions, but it can also be project prompts and ideas and things like that, or driving, ideas of questions around that target. So if you take learning target 1, learning target 2, learning target 3, and you find, oh, this one, and then one here and one here, and you can combine those 3 into a single question, then as you're assessing the kid's product or answer to the driving question, it's going to have 3 separate parts to that question. Does that make sense? To that driving question or project. So that's one way to look at it, that you can kind of do it that way. So as you're building these common assessments, it really should be common assessment banks and not a single final assessment. We don't want to go back to the days of the common assessment.
Right.
That we went through 7 years ago now.
That's where we're at.
Maybe longer. Yeah, what you want to do is talk about, you create an assessment, and then the rest of the crew should be able to say, yeah, I believe that hits the target, or no, man, that's way off. That's not at the right reasoning level. If it's, yeah, that's at the right reasoning level, and an answer would get to that, it goes into the bank. And then Gary creates something, and they say, oh, that goes into the bank. And then that goes into something, yeah, that goes into the bank. Do you need another index card? Do you have to put your three-word phrase down?
No.
So
I just want Matt's recording so I can show it to my math curriculum group.
So does that make sense? So
But when you have this bank of assessments, and it comes time for assessing the student. Do they choose from the bank, or does the teacher choose from the bank? I think because that's where the big rub's going to come.
I say it's up to you. You're the expert.
Okay.
Does this kid A that's sitting in front of you, what's best for kid A? What's best for kid B? It may be that kid A, has this great project they've been working on, and it really attaches to this question, and he's going to answer this question. So can you give him credit for it? Yes or no? That he's hit that. But kid B, they can't figure out, nor do you really want them kind of creating it on their own, because that might be overwhelming to a child and drive some of their social anxiety. So you're like, no, knowing this kid, I better do this, and so that makes the difference. But it just really all depends. And but the nice thing by having several different ways, because being a science teacher, I could ask 7 different kids questions on Newton's law and figure out if they know it or not. I don't have to ask them all the exact same question. It may be that Courtney doesn't connect it all to a question I'm asking about simple machines, because she hears the word lever and she starts giggling, and she can't get over the fact that I pronounced it lever when she's like, it's lever, you idiot, which you could say it either way. But where...
You idiot or...
But there's lots of different ways that you can ask and assess a kid's understanding of that. So that's why we want to fill that bank. And then if you can pull some of those questions out of the bank, or if you're like, oh man, I've got this great project, one of these questions don't really align, but if I could ask it this way, then you just check with your curriculum group. And the curriculum group says, yeah, I agree. Now it's vetted by the experts in the room. And that's really where we should be putting our energy, and not our energy into creating a one-size-fits-all test when that's not at all that aligns with our vision as a district.
I love it.
Gary?
Are we going public with this? This is the thing.
Do you want to tell them what you're doing?
We've been fighting about this. I mean, this is awesome. don't film me, Matt. I don't want. I'm just saying. We wrestled all year because philosophically the thing was bleeding on the table, and no one wanted to look at it.
Some curriculum groups got a different message than others, apparently.
It-
The one I was in talked more like this, and that was very liberating.
But this could set us free. I mean, if we know now that we can go and develop an assessment bank as opposed to somehow we just missed it, but it flew in the face of where I thought we were headed.
Yeah.
I mean,
It definitely sounds like it.
and I wrestled with it all year. I mean, and I mean, I've got two wonderful kids down here. We got teaching English, and their heads are just spinning. You know, we got to do that. I mean, when we generated what did we come up with? A 14-page final
The
exam.
high school one was incredible. Like
14-page final exam. I was like, you got to be kidding. I mean, everything from Beowulf to transitions to writing a thesis statement. It was, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Because I would be willing to bet none of us sitting at that table could have passed it.
Oh, wait a minute, I don't know about
Be yourself.
Not in that form.
Well, and I remember that a big piece behind the charge was that we are giving a common assessment that has been vetted by the whole group, that we have consistency of our scoring. Everybody's 3, is the same, or every teacher is scoring a 3 with the same kind of mindset. And it makes me think that by continuing to develop assessment banks and things that maybe rather than develop an assessment that we know that we're consistent on, that we instead we come back as curriculum groups and say, what does 3-level thinking look like on that target? What does it look like? What kinds of things come about from it? When I see, if for instance PLG style gathering around one example of an assessment, and I'd say that's a 3 based on this. Well, I don't know. I think we're still at a 2.5 because they're missing this, and we get all together on what 3s look like, and they could take a variety of different shapes, and maybe it is more rubric building than specific questions.
Yes, and I think well said. And I think think about how much more enriching it would be in your PLCs if you're sitting around looking at kids' work and saying, oh, you know what? This question that we thought we're going to do it, look at this. 50% of the answers, the kids completely miss it. So let's throw this question out. Or, hey, look at, hey guys, I gave this one out of the bank. And look at the answers I got. This is actually a better question than we even thought, and you're looking at student work and then talking about, is it really a 3 or not? But it doesn't have to be the exact same experience, because it even like the NWEA doesn't, the SBAC, the new whatever it's going to be now, they give different versions of the tests. And so assessment is fine, it's valid and reliable if it's different questions, that's fine, but what we want are the experts to vet if it is or isn't. Based on when you read this, is it at the right reasoning level? And that's what's going to hold it. That's what's going to make it more reliable, is that we're all going to use the same level of reasoning. And then how you use those keywords or phrases to kind of break out and make different questions, it's still going to be hooked to this. And that's what's going to make it a similar experience for all kids.
But I think to make it work, we have to be allowed the time to get back to the old MEA writing scoring that we used to do.
Yeah.
Where you met in your small groups, you all got on the same page, you all scored the same way. Even not just for scoring, but for developing the assessments themselves.
Absolutely. And that's like with these curriculum meetings. That's what they should, instead of creating a 14-page final exam, they should be used to do like the great school partnership stuff that we've been doing around those protocols, and facilitating the conversation to student work to make sure that our bank is solid and not the only exam.